on Sports Dream Day is on the air. Seth Harp has handed the microphone over to the people that have sold themselves as worthy hosts. 5 contestants with an opportunity of a lifetime. Be a part of the program by calling 947-0102 and 866-399-0102.
Hey, let's get this party started.
You're listening to Ron Smith on ESPN 102.1 and ESPN1021.com.
Wow, I'd love to get that intro taped and taken home with me so I can change out the bells at my middle school and walk into class every day to that sound. I think the students would love it. I would sure love it. Maybe they'd look at me in a different way and be more excited to learn some math. But I'm here on a Friday afternoon in the middle of July, here on a hot, steamy Savannah afternoon to talk a little bit of sports with you. And we're in the dog days of summer. You've heard it said every year we get into July and August, and everybody starts to look ahead a little bit. The college football season's still 6 weeks away. Pro football is still 7 weeks away. The baseball pennant races haven't begun to heat up yet. We're still a few weeks away from that, even though there's some trade talk going on in baseball right now. The trade deadline a few days away. You know, we got golf right now. We got the British Open going on. It's good to see Tiger Woods in good shape going into the weekend with a couple of 67s. And he'll be hanging around. Let's see if he can keep it together a little bit better than he did at Olympic last month at the U.S. Open, where he fell apart on the weekend. So he's 4 back of the leader, Brandt Snedeker, trying to get that 15th major. We've heard it said that a lot of these guys trying to win those major tournaments, it's tough. The first one's the toughest to win. But right now for Tiger, it's like he's trying to win his first one after a 4-year drought with all the things he's gone through, trying to get that 15th in his quest to catch up to Jack Nicklaus. But after the British Open, after the golf ends, the sports world's going to stay in England. They're going to shift over to the east side of the country there, to London, and where we have next weekend, we'll have the opening ceremony for the 30th Summer Olympics. All right, and I like the Olympics. They come around every 4 years. I'll watch the Olympics. I'll watch some of the events that I would not normally otherwise watch. I'll admit it. I haven't watched a swimming event in 4 years. I haven't watched a track event in 4 years. But I'll sit there for the next couple of weeks after next week's opening ceremonies and watch the U.S. and root them on. I want to see them win. I'll watch the basketball. I'll watch the volleyball. I'll watch a lot of different things. I certainly won't watch for the 3,500 hours that NBC is advertising they will be carrying on their family of networks, but I'll tune in every night for those 2 weeks and see how the U.S. does. So with the Olympics coming up next week, it got me thinking about what are the top 5 Olympic moments in my lifetime? Okay, you know, I've been around. I'm 45 years old. 1968 was the first Olympics. I certainly didn't watch it. But what are the top 5 Olympic moments that occurred in my lifetime?
Number 5.
Okay, number 5, Mexico City, 1968. Yes, as I said, I was alive then. I was only 1 year old, so I didn't really actually watch those. But reading a recent Sports Illustrated article made me think back to and research this a little bit. The Black Power protest. He had John Carlos and Tommy Smith, after winning one of the track events, taking a stand during the height of the Civil Rights Movement back in 1968. They wore civil rights badges on their track sweatsuits. They went up there barefoot, black gloves, and bowed their head when the U.S. national anthem was played. And it made me wonder if any athlete now, and that Sports Illustrated article also made me wonder if any athlete now would dare make a stand like that, with the big contracts and the endorsement money and things like that. Would an athlete now go out there and make a stand like that? Those two were sent out of the Olympic Village the very next day for doing such a thing.
Number 4.
Number 4 for me, 1988. Seoul. Ben Johnson winning that gold medal and being stripped of it the next day, watching that 100 meters against Carl Lewis, who we all thought couldn't lose, was amazing. Ben Johnson looked like he was shot out of a cannon in that race. He had Carl Lewis beat at about 10 meters, and he was picking up speed as he was going. It was unreal to watch Ben Johnson run those 100 meters. The next morning, we found out he had tested positive for steroids. He was stripped of the gold medal and sent home from the Olympic Village the next day. It helped restore order. We thought, no way Carl Lewis could get beat that bad. We'd watched him for years run for the U.S. track team. We thought there's no way he could lose like that. Had to be something going on. Yeah, Ben Johnson tested positive for steroids and was sent home the next day.
Number 3.
Number 3 for me, 2008, Michael Phelps, 8 gold medals in Beijing. Okay, it's one thing to go out and win a gold medal. It's one thing to win a couple of events and win your gold medals. It's another to go out and win 8 events that you were picked to win. Everybody expected you to win those 8 events, and he went out and won it. And he won it in different fashion. He set some world records. He had some close races. The 2 I remember the most were him lunging to beat the Serbian in the last second by 1/100th of a second to get the 7th gold medal. And the other one was him. He wasn't even the anchor leg. He was the 3rd leg in the one race, cheering on his teammate Jason Lezak as he tracked down France in the last leg of that relay race to get him that gold medal. That was it gives me goosebumps right now to talk about watching those races for Michael Phelps to win his 8 gold medals in Beijing.
Number 2.
Number 2 events kind of stand out for me. One I wasn't old enough to really see. I was 5 years old when this happened. 1972 and 1988, the basketball losses by the United States to the Russians. We're at the 40th anniversary of the 1972 loss to the Russians, where the U.S. was really robbed out of the gold medal. The Russians had 3 opportunities to win the game, 51-50, after the U.S. had taken the lead in the last 3 seconds. The Russians threw the ball down the court 3 different times and finally scored the winning basket and celebrated. And to this day, the U.S. has not collected their silver medal. They are still locked in a vault over in Europe. In 1988, the basketball loss there with John Thompson coaching the U.S. Olympic team. The last time college players were used up to now in the Olympics. And when the U.S. lost that game to the Russians, I remember thinking to myself, it's time. The world is caught up. We've got to show the world where we play the best basketball is in the U.S. Hopefully in '92 we will get the professional players in there and show the rest of the world how this is really done.
Number 1.
Which leads me to my number 1 moment was the 1992 Dream Team. All right, we felt like we restored order in the basketball world with the way the U.S. took care of business, winning games by 40 and 50 points and just destroying everybody. Okay? We didn't necessarily get to beat the Russians because, as you know, in between the 88 and 92 Olympics, the communist bloc in Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union fell, and they were called the unified team. But nonetheless, we still proved our point by going over there and hammering everybody in Barcelona in 1992. So, sorry, Kobe. I hate to tell you, that 92 team would beat you guys this year. All right. Well, after the Olympics there'll be about 2 weeks or so, 2.5 weeks until the college football and the pro football season will start. So at that point, I like to get my mind fully set around college football. And when we come back, I'm going to give you my pick for the national championship based on a little trend that I have seen over the last few years during the BCS era.
This is a special presentation of Harp on Sports. ESPN 102.1 is proud to present Dream Day. You're listening to Ron Smith on ESPN 102.1 and ESPN1021.com.